The shell shock of a man, the emotional shell shock. What if I were to tell you that men actually get emotionally raped all the time? Now, usually the word rape is associated with someone being sexually taken advantage of against their own will. What about a man that is emotionally taken advantage of against his own will? Very similar, if you ask me. Men have to deal with this a lot. Some men, as a result, end up very stoic because of certain things like that taking place. And yet, you got people out here, they call it red pill rage. But what if it's something else? What if it's something deeper than red pill rage? A lot of times people say that term as shaman language towards guys, yet they don't realize some guys have really been through some things. From my perspective, I don't believe that red pill rage and the emotional shell shock of a man are the same. Basically, the emotional shell shock of a man is more so based on really this idea that a man will still have to deal with things no matter how much he grows and knows. He'll still have to deal with a lot of war ahead, and not war that he wants to engage in, just things and people constantly throwing things his way. In this case, we're just going to talk about dealing with the opposite sex, if you will, how she continues to throw things his way despite what he knows now and how he continues to grow now. She'll gaslight. I've always said this in many ways, but if you think you can go through this life unscathed, something's wrong. And you have a lot of guys who claim to be like this macho and ultra masculine type of guy who think, I don't have those problems. I don't really have women that put me through that much emotionally. These are your knights in shining armor who pretty much have nothing to worry about with the damsels and the spinsters in regards to them afflicting any type of harm or wounds unto him. Whereas a person that's really seasoned in this war as a warrior, you know that you're going to go through things and your armor is going to have a few things wrong with it. But the thing is, your armor is strong. But nevertheless, it grows stronger over time.
She loves me not.
But with that said, you'll have to deal with the emotional shell shock that comes from dealing with the front line, because you're always out there on the front line. Every time you step out your house, you're dealing with a front line. So nothing like stepping out the house, but then you come back home and you have to deal with a particular feminine gender trying to bring war upon you as well. I'd say in regards to her, she got to go. If she's not bringing peace into your home, she's not part of the peace in your home. She got to go. Let's say she doesn't live in your home and you talk to her and she's not bringing peace to you over the phone. She got to go. She's got to bring peace into the home or to the phone. Either way. Or you need to leave her alone. She needs to leave you alone. Because a lot of this shell shock of a man, the emotional shell shock of a man, is dealing with one that wants to pretty much see you in a gory state. Not a glory state. They want to see you in a gory state. Emotionally raped in many ways, pretty much left without a voice, as one knows about those who have been taken advantage of in certain ways. They're left without a voice. They're left without a place to speak. The funny thing is as men continue to find ways to speak, they're being shunned and shamed upon. No different than someone that was actually taken advantage of, even though some folk use that for gaslighting situations and false accusations. That's another story, no pun intended. But let's just say that a man being truthful is considered a liar.
She loves me not.
A lot of times, a man wakes up after a lot of nightmares. because of a lot of this emotional shell shock. No different than a veteran that has a lot of nightmares because of past war experiences. A lot of this emotional shell shock is based on the emotional wars of a lot of previous relationships that didn't go anywhere. And men have to suck it up. They say, take it like a man. Men aren't supposed to take it, but men have had to deal with it. They've had to endure because it's often thought in society that men, they don't get emotional about these things. They are not supposed to. That's not what being a man is.
She loves me. She loves me not.
But believe you me, and you could look this up. You don't have to take my word for it, but a lot of men have not only cried over heartbreak alone, a lot of men have died because of heartbreak alone, whether they died literally of a broken heart or they committed suicide because there was nothing else they can do about it. Nothing like a man that has the wherewithal, but there's nothing he can do about it when he's done it all. A lot of times when he feels that he's done it all, it's heartbreaking because it's like, why did she leave? She didn't have to leave. And he's trying to do everything he can to work it out. But now, because of this emotional shell shock of things not working out when more than likely it could have in most cases, he has to change the way that he looks at things now. Oftentimes, this means becoming very stoic to a lot of things. Basically, stoic means emotionally numb. Now, mind you, this is a very unnatural process that men have to take themselves through or force to take themselves through. Over time, he just gets numb to things. Still unnatural. Some other guys have to take medication. A lot of this to avoid suicide because of the emotional shell shock. But nevertheless, some men still ultimately commit suicide as a result. You think about it, when a man is told that a person doesn't want to talk to them no more or something, that's pretty much ending things, like ending a life. Like you don't want that person to exist in your world, in your life no more. That's no different than someone ceasing to live because they cease to exist in your life. In many ways, it's like emotional murder. A man feels an emotional death that he has to endure. And the sad thing is that this person that told him that, they're still alive. They're still going on with their life. And this man has to deal with the fact that he can't talk to this person. Like that emotional shell shock, this death. A lot of men over time, it just gets difficult. So most men just learn how to stay away from a lot of people who they deem as difficult to deal with emotionally. People that don't appreciate life, let alone the life of that man. In most cases, a lot of females that aren't women, they get around a lot of men with the idea of leaving one day. They don't think that you're supposed to get into a man's life not to leave. Just like back in the day, you married in order not to divorce. But right now, what you get is a lot of these typical females, they want to get around a guy, get a feel for him, especially sexually or financially. They want to get a feel for him. And if they feel like they don't like a lot of things about you, or they feel like you two are very much different from each other, then they don't want to talk to you no more. But that's very immature and very premature. How do you get in a person's life and then all of a sudden you want to leave? It's very parasitical and painful upon things being severed amongst that man and that typical female. Because she wanted things severed. You see, it was once linked together, tied together, connected, but she wanted to disconnect it. That's a very painful thing for a man. That's why a lot of females want to break it off or dump the guy first or play the guy first, because they don't want to know what it feels like to have it happen to them. But it's still very selfish, because they're not considering the way the man feels when she decides that she wants to walk away or give up. But then again, this man has to deal with the popular opinion that says a man ain't supposed to show that he's hurt. You gotta take it like a man. But then down the road, you get these females that want to say cliches like that, coming back at a man being like, well, who hurt you? Why you acting like that? Maybe he's emotionally shell-shocked. But then you'll get those same type of females be like, well, you're not ready for another relationship. You still have to heal from the previous relationship. I'm thinking to myself, maybe he just needs to be around a feminine gender that's not going to try to go to war with him every time. Maybe she'll add more to his healing instead of add more to his suffering.
She loves me. She loves me not.
She don't love me. She wanted me to rot.
I gave her a rose, but then she threw it away. I can give her the whole world, but she'll still blow it up.
This is one of my longest recorded uploads, but I felt that someone needed this. This was real heartfelt. I was at a low point at one time of my life, but I've come a long way. Ever since I learned about Black Knight armor, everything, and I mean everything, has changed for me.
Now, I still deal with things. The war isn't over, but I've gotten better. I've gotten stronger.
Therefore, I am not as affected as I used to be. I've only become more effective than I used to be. My prayers to men that are scarred. More than likely, you had armor on this whole time. Black Knight. Unleash the power you never knew that you had. Thanks a million.